Hello, empowered woman. Welcome to this episode of the Empowered Woman podcast. Today, you're in for a big celebration. This is officially our 200th episode. What? Isn't that insane? And because I love a party and finding reasons to be proud of myself, I'm adding something huge to this. I'm letting you in on a project I've been working on for over a year now, my very first book. Yes, I've decided to practice what I preach and take imperfect action. I'm sharing the first few pages of my manuscript with you. Are you ready? Let's dive in.
Welcome back to the Empowered Woman Podcast, the #1 show on personal growth, visibility, and profit for women entrepreneurs. If you're wanting to start believing in yourself, giving yourself permission to succeed, and let your voice be heard to make an impact in the world as an entrepreneur, this is the place for you. I am so glad that you're here. My name is Marcia Spurk, and I'm your host, triplet mom, woman empowerment coach, and all things motivation extraordinaire. Welcome again, and let's dive into today's episode.
So many emotions the last couple of weeks. I've been getting gentle pushes and not so gentle pushes from mentors, from friends, about just getting on with it and getting my book out there. And of course, being who I am, I couldn't not get into detail on this journey. And I think it's an encouraging thing for you out there that may have a project that you're working on and you're just dragging your feet and not really paying close attention as to why you're dragging your feet. And there's always a reason, right? And I figured now would be a great time. I just wrapped up an amazing live event last week with 8 of my clients. It was just amazing and such amazing confirmation of the work that I'm doing and why I'm so passionate about this empowering women business. In so many ways. But I just celebrated my very first 4th of July as an American citizen and just really learning more and more throughout my journey how to celebrate myself. If you've been around me long enough, if you've been listening to the show long enough, this has been my quest. My quest postpartum has been self-validation, self-love, self-acceptance, having my kids really created in me this urgency to celebrate myself more than ever because it was such a rough and abrupt transition from 0 to 3. And I've gone over this over the years, but it's really my journey. It's really been my life story of this huge shift, this thing that really shook me to my core and made me realize, Marta, your purpose on this earth really is to find more love and compassion for yourself and invite other women to do the same for themselves, because we are the heart of the world. We really, really are the heart of the world. And so the more we embrace who we are and we find love for ourselves, the more we can find love for everyone around us. And I believe that is a mother's journey, a woman's journey, is bringing love into the world, but it all starts with her loving and accepting herself. But anyway, I had heard that writing a book was super important as a speaker, as an aspiring speaker, as a coach. And I'd heard mixed opinions from mentors saying, just get stuff going and then you write your book. This is not, you're not going to be a New York Times bestseller. And then I also heard from other mentors that just get it on out there. It doesn't matter. It's just kind of like a business card. It's an intro to you. And it doesn't have to be perfect. There are so many different stories inside of you. Don't worry about, writing an autobiography or a memoir because the story is not over. And I kind of had this impression that writing a book had to be a memoir. And then the more I surrounded myself with authors and started seeing other entrepreneurs' books, I started realizing that really to put your message out there, you don't necessarily want to write a memoir. Of course, you always are going to be sprinkling your story in, but it's more about your framework, your 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 business, and the way you handle whatever it is that you teach and that you market through your business. And then that gave me a little bit more of an encouragement. Okay, if I don't have to air out dirty laundry and talk about all the trauma in my life, because that's not necessarily interesting because I am not a celebrity and because I'm still alive, then that kind of took the pressure off a little bit. But still, I couldn't really make myself sit down and type. And that has been another hard part about getting this book out there, is because I am so busy with so many other things and projects that it's really hard for me to sit idle. And I'm putting air quotes here because it's not an idle thing. But I guess because I'm such a spotlight performer girl, it's hard for me to not have the instant gratification of, I'm working on this thing that's a lengthy thing for a long time and no one's going to see it. And gosh darn it, what do I always tell my clients? Don't do anything in the behind the scenes. Yeah, you're going to have to work on stuff that people are not going to see, but start sharing that, because you're preparing them for it and you're getting yourself excited about it. Except I had not applied this to my book until recently, in speaking with this amazing woman that I met in a coaching program that I'm in, Jessie Shedden. I want to interview her for the show because she is incredible. And I had to name drop here because she's been super, super helpful in me taking this step here today, right now. Because sharing a little bit of my book with you is going to give me accountability. And this is another thing that I encourage clients. If you start talking about it, if you set a date and if you tell people to come to something, then you're going to have to hold yourself accountable because other people know about it. And that's a no-brainer, right? Even back to my Beachbody days. When you tell your family, hey, I'm starting this program, or, I'm going to be doing these workouts and I'm going to be paying closer attention to my nutrition, and it adds to the accountability piece. But it's also extremely scary because then people are going to be looking at you like, what are you doing? And so even though I knew this is what I needed to do, I kind of needed an extra push. And really, friends, I'm here recording this episode to tell you that I'm scared out of my mind. And that is very, very hard. That is a very, very hard thing for me to admit, especially because people don't see me as this fearful person. People don't see me as this scaredy cat. People see me as this brave, fierce woman that goes after what she wants. And that is why it is so important for me to share with you that that is not 100% my reality, because that's no one's reality, friends. Everyone's afraid of something. And when I was thinking about, recording this episode and letting you in on the process of writing this book, an amazing analogy came to me. And I love illustrating through stories because that's how people can, grasp a concept better and really be entertained, because that's how our brain works. It took me 28 or 29 years to get my very first tattoo, and it's the only one I have to this day. Now, some people will never have tattoos their entire life, and I totally get that. So 29 years is not anything special, but I'd always wanted to get something. But, growing up in a very conservative Christian home, it wasn't something that was really encouraged or fostered or approved of, really. But my husband has several tattoos. My sister even got one before I did. And it wasn't even a matter of, I don't want to be disapproved of. It was, I genuinely did not have anything that I could think of that I would want to have on my body permanently. And then I had triplets, and I was like, well, I think out of all the things ever, this is a pretty huge thing to just have on me forever. And so I got 3 little hearts in the back of my left arm. And it's felt great to have it. And now I'm thinking, okay, this makes perfect sense in terms of my book. Waiting until this special moment, until there's absolutely something that needs to be talked about. to put it out there. Except it does not have to be this way, right? And having this idea in my head that I had to have a finished concept, framework, story to put something out there, I started understanding that it's really about just having that nudge, really feeling it inside yourself and knowing that it was time. And this is how I feel about right here, right now. If there ever was a perfect moment for me to start talking about something and putting something out there, it is now. And so let me backtrack and tell you why it has taken me so long. And I'm still kind of figuring this out as I go. But so last year, I started, sitting down and typing stuff up, but it didn't go very far. And the coach that I've been working with, Gary Barnes, he's been here on the show. He has published, I think, 9 books, maybe more. And he kept telling me, you need to get on with it. You need to get on with it. But, we were working on other stuff, so it kind of got into the back burner. And then recently in working in a coaching program, you get asked this question several times throughout your life, especially as an entrepreneur. If you had absolutely zero fear, if you weren't afraid of anything, what would you do? And then the book kept coming up. And I understood that it was a fear of having something permanently printed out there that I can't take back, making something official. It's almost like, marriage, signing some papers, except you can do away with that. Really, you can do away with most things in life except death, right? And I started thinking how silly of me it was to want to have something 100% perfect. And that's why it made so much sense for me to just release a part of it to get people on board, to get people's feedback. And that's another thing that has been super challenging for me throughout my entire life is I don't share things when there's a risk of me being criticized. It's almost like I weigh in. Am I willing to put myself through criticism over this? And if it's something small, then that's okay. I'll get over it. And throughout the years, I think my tolerance has increased. And it's like, okay, how much more of a fool of myself can I make? Can I handle the criticism? All right, cool. What's the next step? And for me, performing the national anthem a few times live, those are things that legitimately make me super, super nervous. But then in my head, I justify it as, hey, it's going to go away. It's okay. No harm, right? But these are things that really make me nervous. Like going live on local TV. I literally shake and sweat. Like these are things that really make me nervous. But I tell myself it's going to be over in a few minutes. It's done. But then when it comes to the book, it's not the same. It's not the same. And, let me know if you resonate with this and if it's making sense in your head. It's not the same because it's something that I'm going to put out there, that's going to be printed, that, people are going to see. And a lot of it, too, is my family is going to see. It's not just a social media post. It's going to be out there. And it just scared the hell out of me. And that is the very reason why I know I need to do it. Because that's how you grow, right? You do these things that scare the hell out of you. And it's different layers and different levels of things that scare the hell out of you. So anyway, it didn't go very far. And then I learned about the concept of having a ghostwriter. And I thought, oh, hold on a second. If I can have someone kind of understand what I'm trying to convey and them doing it and me just kind of overseeing it, that's more appealing to me because it's not just me sitting for hours working on something that's no one seeing. See how contradictory that is, though? Because I don't want anyone to see it, but at the same time, I want people to see it. It's insane. And it goes back to me being a 3 on the Enneagram, all the things that I've shared here on the show over the years. And so I had known this amazing woman for a long time on social media. Her name is Genesis. And she's Canadian, but she lives in Guatemala. So we talked, several times about living in a Latin country, speaking Spanish, raising our kids bilingual. We've talked back and forth. And then I finally was like, oh my gosh, I'm going to reach out to her and see how this would work. And then it all came to me. Instead of me just giving her access to my coaching stuff and having her listen to podcast episodes, I'm just going to record each chapter. I'm going to do a voice recording, and she can listen to it and put it into actual written words. And so it happened. And so for the latter part of 2020 and early 2021, she worked on this, and she did it really, really fast. So it has not been because she's taking a while. It's just I haven't sat down to actually go through the stuff and add things or remove things. That was not my priority. And the reason it was not my priority, I know now, is because I was scared. I was scared that I needed to wait a little bit longer until I felt like it was more of a finished product. And now I understand it's never going to be a finished product. And that's another reason why I've always enjoyed interpreting more than translating. And for those of you who don't know the difference, there is actually a difference. Interpreting is when you are doing a oral voice translation, right? So it's when you're speaking. As opposed to translation, it's always written word. And I've worked with both. But at the end of the day, I love interpreting because it's just so dynamic and it's what comes to your head. It's that spur of the moment thing, and you don't have to overthink it. And I hate overthinking. I just want to go ahead and I want to do. And then when it comes to the book, I've just been overthinking because it's a written thing, because it's forever there, and because nothing that is written is ever finished, because you can edit it forever, right? That's why there are so many different editions to books, because you can keep changing and adding stuff to it. And with me being the spontaneous, dynamic person that I am, all of this is just 100% out of my comfort zone. And again, that's the reason why I know I need to move forward with this. It's really a new phase, making it official, really telling myself more than anything. Because oftentimes we think it's about telling the world, but really it's the willingness of admitting something to yourself. That's where it all begins, because it's always begins with you. And going back to, women being the heart of everything and us having to lead with this love. How do you do that if you don't start by loving and accepting yourself? So I started working with her. She, worked on the entire thing. The book is basically the framework that I've been using in my coaching for the last couple of years, and helping you step into your empowered self as a woman. And then I added a twist to it, because it's not just being an empowered woman, but it's being an empowered woman entrepreneur. And so I add a lot of details on how to see yourself as a business person and really owning that. And that's another reason why I know that this is an important step for me in growth of my business, is releasing this out into the world. So I figured, with all of the nudges and pushes that I've been getting from all over to do this, me celebrating my very first 4th of July as an American citizen, which is a huge thing for me, 14 years of age, long time ago, I started teaching English. I really stepped into this thing of something is out there in the United States for me. And then marrying an American, having American babies, living here for several years. It's a huge accomplishment. And the fact that officially this is the 200th episode on the show. And the numbers have been off. So if you go look at the numbers, I'm not at 200 yet. But I was just looking at Libsyn, which is the website where I host my show. And because I've had bonus episodes here and there throughout the year, I've actually released now officially 200 episodes. And so I figured perfect celebration, celebrating 3 years of the show last month, almost to 100,000 downloads, which is insane. Over and over again, I get notifications of how the show is ranking in so many different countries all over the world. Egypt, Namibia, Guatemala, Honduras. Like, people are listening to this thing and I don't even know what's going on. And that's a whole other reason why this book needs to go out there. And I already see once the book is out there, I'm 100% going to work on a Portuguese translation and future translations for other languages and getting this word on out there. But I wanted to tell the story. I wanted to, and I know that there is a bigger purpose here. There's so many other purposes, but in helping you stop wanting something to be 100% finished and done, to get on with it. And I've always prided myself in not being that person because I just move and I act so fast. But with this, it's been different. And that's why I know it's important. Because if I'm dragging my feet, it's because I need to get it done because I'm afraid. And that's when you grow. So I want to encourage you to look at certain areas of your life where you're having this attitude. Take a step back and see, does this actually mean that you need to move forward and that's why you're not moving forward because you're scared? So pay attention to that. And so here's the actual practical information. You can go to marjasburke.com/book, as easy as that. And you can just enter your information. It's all free. And you will get the PDF with the introduction and the first chapter of my book. Of course, everything's still being edited and looked at. But like I said, I want to put this out there. I want to get your feedback. And I also created a little video. As soon as you enter your information, you're going to see that. I would love for you to record a quick video, a short video back, and let me know what inspired you to want to read this, how I have impacted your journey through self-love and through entrepreneurship, or anything really that you want to share. You could either do a video. I would love a video. It would be amazing. Or you could do just text format. Just type up a little message as a sort of testimonial. I would love to hear back from you and potentially continue to release more of the book and continue to talk about it. Now that I'm making it official, I know I have to get on with it. So this is how you access it all, and I am eternally grateful for you. I also appreciate you listening to this episode, to this show. I just received an amazing review the other day on the podcast. Somebody took the time to leave a message, to leave a review and say that this show is really testament of my commitment to empowering women, entrepreneurs, and leaders to increase their impact in the world. And I love those words so much. So thank you for leaving this review. I think her name is Angie. Thank you so much for saying that, because whenever I see these testimonials, I understand that the message I'm trying to convey really is being conveyed. And that makes me super happy, because at times it feels like I'm just rambling and not doing anything. But I really am. And I'm so grateful for you. So if you have some time, leave a review for the show as well, because it helps us increase our reach and it helps me keep going as well. So eternally, eternally grateful for you. Going out there, get the excerpt of my book. Shoot me a message or a video message letting me know your thoughts. And again, grateful, 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 grateful. No turning back now. Thank you so much for tuning in today. Oh, here goes nothing, right? Go on, get the excerpt, read it. Let me know your thoughts. Until next time, bye.